Karen here with KLA. I'm hearing from so many of you that are in a situation where you need to move your career along. Either you're been laid off or you're furloughed or you're just not happy where you are right now. And a lot of people are sending me their resumes and I want to help everybody. I think the biggest way I can help you right now is to give you some tips and some advice on how to actually interview because I'm finding a lot of people just don't interview well, don't interview a lot. So when it does come time to interview, you're kind of out of practice if you're unexpectedly back on the job market. So I thought I'd help you out. Number one, study it inside, outside, understand the requirements, make sure you're matching up with the requirements, pay attention to the parts of the job description that you might have some weaknesses in, and maybe you want to practice up on parts of your background that could supplement where your strengths are, but don't play up where you think that your weaknesses are. I want you to know and research the interviewers. That's a very telling way to know that there might be something in the job description that might be maybe a surprise that you're not aware of. Like sometimes I'll have a product development or a research scientist or an R&D role, engineering role, and then I get the list of who's going to be interviewing that person, and then I see that there's a sales manager on the list or director of business development on the interviewer list, and it's like, wait a minute, this is an R&D role. Why is there a business development manager on this? And then I find out that they're going to have a big part in helping the business development and the salespeople to close deals by giving technical advice. Okay, that really wasn't in the job description, so let's talk about how we supported business development so that because they're going to be watching for how, communication on business development and maybe helping with the customers, those types of things. So you want to study and research the interviewers for the interview. You can find their LinkedIn profiles, look and see where they went to school, what their background was, if there's any companies that maybe you're familiar with or that you might be able to speak to and make them feel comfortable that you're one of them. You also want to test the location and the platform, especially now that we're doing a lot of interviews by Skype or by Zoom or by Google Chat. You need to practice that. Don't wait till 5 minutes before the interview to make sure your laptop is on check and that it's pointed directly and looking right at the camera. You want to make sure that your equipment is good, the lighting is good, the background is good. Don't stand and sit in front of your unmade bed. Don't have any clutter or garbage or anything else around. Practice that for sure. Now, if you are going to be traveling to the location, I like to get on Google Earth and see, how I'm going to, with the airport, where the location of the rental car is. And then I like seeing what kind of countryside I'm going to be driving to the facility. Is it a rural area? Am I going to have, miles and miles of cornfields, or am I inner city? Just to give yourself a sense of comfort and familiarity, because on stressful days, you don't want to have any kind of big surprises come up that you may not be prepared for. Now, there's some prep questions, the top typical normal 10 or so questions that are potential questions. Prep up on those questions. I'll drop a link in here to some of the ones that I work with. Behavior-based questions that are very common in most interviews. You want to get a list of those common interviewing questions and prep up your answers on that as well. You've got to have, 2 or 3 really, knockout stories on how you accomplished what you accomplished, why you're good at what you do, what your experience is, and how you either saved the company money or made the company money. And you really want to craft that before you get into the interview so that you don't ramble and then you get to the good part quickly. Practice that as well. Now be ready to discuss your comp. Now, most companies won't ask you about that compensation question on the very first interview, but you should be ready to discuss that if it does come up, because a lot of interviewers don't follow the rules and they might just flat out ask you that. So be prepared and be direct. You want to have high quality questions. When they ask you what your questions are, you always want to have questions. Don't not have questions. And they need to be high quality questions. What would you expect in this position to be a home run hire, say after 6 months? A year from now, what would I have had to have accomplished in order for you to feel very confident that you made the right decision? What are the 3 month goals for this position? And you want to ask questions about their continued growth. What are any problems, known problems within this position? Am I coming in to fix a problem and to be your hero? Or am I coming into a well-oiled machine and you're just going to check me in and I'm just going to run with it? You want to have really high-quality questions to ask that really shows that you did your homework on the position. You want to, of course, research the company, know where they're going, know where they've been, know what their history is, know how they were founded, how long they've been in business, if they're publicly held, what their current revenues are, their history, any mergers, any acquisitions that they've got coming up. You really want to study the company and be prepared to ask some questions about that and have a dialogue about the company, and that'll just really show that you've done your research and that you're interested and that you're engaged. You want to prep some supporting material, especially if you're having to give a presentation in engineering or in science or in research and development. You want to have supporting material. You want to have that all ready to give to the interviewers. You also, if you're in sales, business development, any supporting material on charts and graphs, or how you can prove that you did what you did or sold what you sold or grew what you grew. Any supporting material, you need to prep that up and have that ready to go. Have as many copies to give to every single person that's on the interviewing team as well. You want to practice being conversational. Don't be stiff. Be relaxed. And if you are nervous and you haven't interviewed in a long time, practice with a friend, with a spouse, with your recruiter. Practice just being conversational, having your stories well constructed so that you don't ramble, and just relax. Have a good time with it, and feel very accomplished that you're actually on the first interview, and this could lead to the job of your dreams. And I hope this helps. I'll be giving you some more tips along the way. So have a great weekend, everybody.